glowing eyes haunting him with the weight of her words. As they hauled him through the corridors, Ridley's mind raced. What had just happened? He had no memory of breaking any law. And yet, here he was, arrested for something he didn't even understand. His only connection to this strange, alien woman was the brief encounter they had shared. But why had she sought him out? And what was this law of contact that he had supposedly violated? They brought him to holding cells, throwing him into one without a word. The metallic door clanging shut behind him. Ridley says, "And now, you will face the consequences." Before Ridley could respond, the station's alarms blared to life, the shrill sound filling the air and sent his heart into overdrive. His body tensed, and he her eyes seemed to search his soul, as if looking for something deep within him. Ridley felt exposed, vulnerable under her gaze, but there was no way to turn away. "You violated the law of contact," she said finally. "The one rule that governs interactions between species. Something alien. You've broken the law." Ridley blinked, his mind struggling to process her words. What law?" he asked, his confusion growing by the second. She didn't answer right away. Instead, he couldn't comprehend. "Who are you?" Ridley managed to say, his voice barely above a whisper. The woman's lips curled into a faint smile, though it wasn't one of kindness. "I've been waiting for you, Ridley," she said, her voice melodic but laced with something darker. She was tall, almost otherworldly, and her presence radiated a quiet power that made Ridley feel both awestruck and terrified at the same time. She didn't move, but her gaze never left his. It was as though she was studying him, evaluating him in ways Ridley's breath caught his throat as he took in the sight. The woman was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin was a shimmering silver hue. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural blue light. To leave the sector and alert security, but his feet were rooted to the floor. The voice sounded familiar, comforting, even without warning. A figure appeared before him. As if materializing from thin air, felt heavier, and the lights above flickered once, twice, then went dim. Ridley didn't think much of it first. After all, it was just another glitch in the system. But then he heard it, a soft whisper, again, this time louder, almost like a voice calling his name. Ridley froze, his heart pounding. He wasn't alone. "Ridley," the voice whispered. It wasn't human. He could tell that much. His instinct screamed at him to run. The Sky Station, floating silently among the stars, was a marvel of engineering and human ambition. Its corridors echoed with the sough of machinery, and its sprawling hallways were bathed in a sterile light, casting long shadows across its cold, metallic floors. Ridley had spent the better part of 5 years here, working as an engineer in the lower levels of the station, repairing systems no one else wanted to deal with. The isolation suited him. No distractions, no unnecessary chatter, just a steady hum of machines, keeping the station and Ridley running smoothly. The day had started like any other. Ridley had gone through his routine, checking systems, calibrating equipment, and making sure everything was functioning properly. It was a mundane existence, but it was his, like a breath against his ear. Turning sharply, Ridley scanned the area. Empty. His pulse quickened, but there was nothing there, just the familiar hum of the station's air filtration system. But as he moved to continue his work, the whisper came, and he was content with that, until the unexpected happened. It was during a routine repair in one of the station's lower sectors, when Ridley first noticed something unusual. As he worked, his eyes scanning the data readouts, he felt a sudden shift in the atmosphere. He actively took a step back. The woman, however, remained calm, almost serene. Then the door to the sector slammed open, and a group of heavily armed security officers flooded into the room. They moved quickly, surrounding Ridley before he could even react. The woman, still standing motionless, looked at the officers with an unreadable expression. "You are under arrest," one of the officers said, his voice cold and detached. "You have been accused of violating the law of contact. Come with us." The officers didn't give Ridley a chance to speak or explain himself. They seized him, their hands strong and unyielding as they dragged him through the dark, silent hallways of the station. The woman's figure remained etched in his mind,